Right. What you directed me to, right? That's a good addition to what was said on the discussion earlier. Like they were the the idea was they were saying like that they're being they're be this the term that's used like just to discuss it is this kind of like that it's that there's a war on Christmas. But like they said, the real way in which there's a war on Christmas this season, or always, as she said, like a goodwill towards one another. And then you see, you direct me to this, like they were sort of saying like goodwill. For some reason, it's not like would goodwill would include like include the way different parts of like the political class and authority and whatever to creating our society, like right, like policies that harm the poor and these kind of things that are taking place, like that's not goodwill, and that's part of it. Like this Christmas season, like the things that are happening to people, like taking away unemployment. It's gonna the full number look like it's getting close to 2 million people that'll be unemployed, and there's really not extending unemployment and countries food stamps. So there's no there's that good she said so goodwill, like the idea of goodwill towards one another is apparently divorced from good policy, or policy that considers the disadvantaged. But then you directed me to this too, right? It's like yet another image which is familiar, where where someone who is African American is being like tased and held down by police officers, and the way like because it was someone who wasn't doing anything. Like it's one of these. It happens all the time. Like it's was trying to say like I'm not doing anything wrong, wasn't doing anything wrong, but like but the sort of like the sort of way our police operate, like has no like it is a misunderstanding. He's saying like, I'm not doing anything. They're perceiving he's sort of like talking back to them. It ends with him being tased, and like it's a very frightening image. And like his I guess it's his girl. I don't know if that was his sister or his girlfriend. Like right, and like looks like the I mean the well, the point is that like right, these kind of things that goes on all the time. That goes on all the time, so it's just not, there's no, okay, so that kind of thing, right? And then what we mentioned before, like there's the sort of war on Christmas, like in a metaphoric sense, right? I mean, it's like, right, government policy, all the things the state is doing, let's put it that way, like including the way like the police are behaving to, towards, an African American person not doing anything, but they're like, creates a situation, that kind of thing, policies that harm the poor, like that's missing. That's not the Christmas spirit at all. Is missing from our sort of like the policies or the attitude of our political class, like generally, including the policies of our like the authorities and things. But what else they said um that I guess you were directing me to is oh right, that there's been a major, like there was a newscast, like one of our like what sort of like newscast, like one of our newscasters who hosts a show to my politics, like said something that was like genuine, like said like didn't want, the idea is like this, they're just been discussing Santa Claus and said like like she said something like there is a Santa Claus, like she has kids, like she's saying like as a person she was saying like no, like we don't want to the topic of Santa Claus not being real is not saying we don't want to like further that, like I have kids, and like because we live in this like culture where for some reason when someone's like highly successful to the point where they're like have a show where they're bringing you the news, or they're a newscaster or something, that for some reason once you're in the public like that, you're attacked by people with all kinds of like that's how our population. Same is true with people that have a YouTube channel. Like when like someone's doing something that would indicate like they're trying to bring information, but the very fact like able to do it seems putting this person who's like there's the attitude that then when someone appears in the public spotlight, you hang on every word they say and then attack it. Like she was just saying something as a person basically, but that once someone's like in like those kind in a position like people who have a YouTube channel, people who are on a television show talking, like then the reaction is like then you're supposed to like attack them viciously if they say something wrong. Like they pointed that like that attitude in our culture towards someone who's like I just said, lots of people have like a YouTube channel that bringing people like information or spiritual information or something, and like you see what the comments that come in like why don't you drop dead, like that's what people are sort of perceiving you should do when someone puts themselves out there, or like or in that case of like that anyway. So that's that they brought that up too. What else might you have wanted us to add? But that's all important. I mean, during the Christmas season, like, would be a good time to notice how, like, there's some kind of sickness in our society where, in a bunch of ways, like, this is not like that your society is like this at Christmas time. I mean, it's been like this, but it will be like this. But that's what to notice at Christmas. That's the war on Christmas. They're saying this these sort of like ills in our society is what they're saying. That's pretty much like what we were directed to. We could add something in about we'll make another. We sort of made a video about Santa Claus like the other day and about there's a bunch of things, but we could like do that in another video or something. I think that's what you wanted us to like repeat that it was an important discussion they were having about, so we should like say something about it. Was I think what you wanted.